Plato, the world of forms and the pursuit of truth. Plato, one of the greatest philosophers of ancient Greece, introduced the concept of the theory of forms, which explains that everything we see in the physical world is merely a reflection of perfect, unchanging forms in the world of forms. This idea not only encourages us to question what is real but also inspires us to seek true knowledge. Key concepts of the world of forms. The world of forms. Plato believed that true reality does not reside in the physical world we perceive but exists in the world of forms. The world of forms is home to ideals or perfect, unchanging models, such as beauty, goodness, and justice. Example: the chair we see comes in various shapes and styles, but all of them are imperfect reflections of the ideal chair that exists in the world of forms. Plato explained that forms exist beyond time and space, embodying perfection without flaws, unlike the ever-changing physical world. Another example: true beauty does not exist in a person's appearance but in the ideal form of beauty, which is perceived differently by each individual. The world of appearances. The world we perceive through our senses is merely a shadow of the world of forms. What we see is constantly changing and imperfect, while forms are eternal and unchanging. The world of appearances is only an imperfect copy of the world of forms, interpreted through our experiences. For instance, justice in the world of forms is absolute, but in the world of appearances, justice may be distorted by bias and external influences. The allegory of the cave, a reflection of ignorance. Plato presented the allegory of the cave in the Republic to explain the difference between knowledge and ignorance. People are chained inside a cave, seeing only shadows projected on the wall. The shadows are cast by objects outside the cave that reflect light. When someone escapes the cave and sees the outside world, they discover a reality far deeper than what they had previously known. Lessons from the allegory of the cave. The shadows in the cave represent the reflections of the world of appearances. Leaving the cave symbolizes the pursuit of truth and knowledge. Those who leave the cave and see the truth have a duty to return and share this knowledge with those still inside. Plato compared those who escape the cave and see the truth to philosophers, who are tasked with bringing knowledge back to help others. The allegory also highlights a society that clings to ignorance and false beliefs, which hinders the pursuit of truth. Plato's influence on philosophy and religion. Influence on Roman philosophy and the Renaissance. Plato's ideas had a profound impact on Roman philosophy, particularly during the Roman Empire when concepts of justice and goodness were incorporated into the legal system. During the Renaissance, thinkers such as Marsilio Ficino revived Plato's ideas, which influenced changes in religious and artistic thought. Influence on Christian philosophy. Plato's concept of the world of forms influenced the ideas of Saint Augustine, who blended Platonic thought with Christian theology. Augustine believed that God is the highest form and that the world of forms reflects the perfection of God. This idea shaped the foundations of Christian doctrine during the Middle Ages. Comparison between Plato and Aristotle. Plato versus Aristotle, the world of forms versus practical reality. Plato believed in the world of forms that exists beyond sensory experience, whereas Aristotle argued that truth resides in the physical world and is discovered through observation. Plato emphasized abstract ideas, while Aristotle focused on empirical study and practical reasoning. Forms versus substance. Plato viewed objects in the world as mere shadows of perfect forms, while Aristotle believed that substance and form coexist to create reality. The pursuit of truth and wisdom. Transcending the world of ignorance. Plato encouraged people to seek knowledge through reason. Learning and questioning allow us to leave the cave and discover the truth. True knowledge does not come from sensory experience but is found through logic and philosophy. Plato believed that this pursuit of truth leads to wisdom and deeper understanding. Rule by the wise, philosopher king. Plato believed that philosophers, who see the truth, should be the rulers of society. Leaders guided by wisdom would not be tempted by power but would lead society toward justice. The philosopher king should be someone who understands goodness and truth. Plato argued that the best form of governance is rule by the wise, not by those who seek power for themselves. Application of Plato's ideas in the modern world. Questioning the truth in the age of information. In the digital age, where we are bombarded with information, Plato teaches us to question and discern truth from mere reflections. Social media is the modern cave, where we see only reflections and often mistake them for reality. We must leave the cave of misinformation and seek the truth through critical analysis and discernment. Pursuing true knowledge. We should seek deeper knowledge beyond surface-level information, such as through self-development and lifelong learning. Education and critical thinking enable us to develop philosophical insights and distinguish between truth and illusion. Leading with wisdom. In a rapidly changing world, leaders with vision and wisdom are needed to guide society forward. Plato taught that good leaders must understand goodness, justice, and make decisions based on wisdom, not emotion. Applying Plato's ideas in everyday life. Plato taught us to seek the truth behind appearances and not judge things based on what we see. Practicing critical thinking and questioning the world around us helps prevent being misled and cultivates better judgment. Conclusion. Plato's philosophy of the world of forms is not merely a theoretical concept but a guide to understanding truth and questioning life. Plato invites us to leave the cave and explore a deeper reality, inspiring us to share this knowledge with others. Plato not only taught us to see the truth but also emphasized that truth should be used to guide society toward justice and goodness. If we can transcend ignorance and discover the truth, we can become leaders with wisdom in our society.